Welcome to the second devlog for Unite the Party, an online virtual tabletop built with Unreal Engine 5. I'll briefly take you through our developed features for January 2024, which include movement tweaks, 3D file importer, object mode, the Sphere of Death, our summons menu, and the stealth system, which is my favorite. You've got to stick around for that. But before we dive into that, we need to thank our YouTube and TikTok followers, and those that engage with us and joined our Discord. And an enormous thanks to our patrons over at Patreon for financially helping our indie development. It helps us so much. Now, let's dive in. Our basic movement previously had everything travel to its destination in the same amount of time, despite the distance. But now, everything travels at the same speed, so creatures don't zoom across the map anymore. We will probably expose this so users can set up their own speed preferences. Still technically in our movement system, you never know what's going to happen in an encounter, even as the GM, which is why you can now scale any creature by your preset sizes. At the moment, units have their default size and can scale anywhere along the tiny, small, medium, large, huge, gargantuan, and colossal. If your tabletop RPG needs something else, you'll be able to play with these preset scales. Moving on to one of our crucial features, our 3D file importer. You can bring in any FBX or OBJ, or even STL files that are used for 3D printing. You can manipulate your file to translate, rotate, and scale it to line up with whatever default base size you want. You can set up the unit's basic color, metalness, and roughness. And we're always looking into more and more ways to add to this importation. If you want to add an existing mesh from Unite the Party, or add a file you've previously imported to this unit, you can do that, and create whatever you want, and then have that unit saved for the next encounter. You can then finally have a dragon that really loves sticks crush your party to death with a big old log. Object mode! If you need to interact with an object, you can now move it around in object mode, and you can briefly attach it anywhere on a miniature. The object will then travel around with that miniature's movement and rotation until you remove it again with object mode. I plan to use this encounter where the villains are trying to use a magic object before the party does, and a constant visual reminder of where that important magic item is really important to my players, and it helps them a lot.
The Sphere of Death.
Quite specific, and not for everyday use, mind you. But it will tie into our next topic. You can spawn this death ball from our summons menu, and it mostly acts like a unit. But when it overlaps a space with another unit, you can ask the sphere to engulf what is nearby. It also detects objects if they are within the space, and they will also become lost to the void. But that won't work in my game, Harry. I need more options. Well, then you make it yourself, damn it. With our new summons menu. This is where you can spawn your units, objects, the Sphere of Death, and some preset magical summons, as well as create your own custom summons. You can pick the basic color, the glow intensity, pick custom meshes that are available. You can translate, rotate, scale it up however you want. There's also a basic floating animation we've put in, which we'll dive much more deeper into in the future. You could literally pick anything you want. You want a wagon as your summoned weapon? Why not, I say? Perhaps a table. Maybe a key, I guess? What about a coffin? Maybe I'm an evil vampire cleric or worshipper and I want to bash someone with a casket. On a similar theme, a goblet of spiritual blood, or whatever takes your fancy. As with all things, a lot more updates will come to improve this summons menu in the future. The last thing to show off, if you can roll high enough, is the stealth system. In 2 clicks, you can hide a unit from your players, and only the GM can see it, and they can continue to move it and then reveal it when necessary. The next steps of this will add in revealing the unit to specific players only, and only those necessary will be able to see them. What confusing, stealthy fun that will be. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any ideas or thoughts, be sure to comment on the video after you like and subscribe. Join the Discord for more conversations, and consider supporting our indie development on Patreon. All the links are below. See you in the next devlog.